I'm going to try to be as spoiler free as possible, but if you have any interest at all in playing this game, do yourself a favor and go play it. It's well worth your time and you will not regret it. With that in mind, let's get on with it. On the surface, Pyre has a very simple story to tell. You're an exile from the Commonwealth trying to gain your freedom. Those who are found guilty of any number of crimes are sentenced to live the rest of their days in the downside, your crime being the ability to read. In the downside, you are found clinging to life by a group of travelers. These travelers soon realize you are capable of reading and invite you to join them in their quest for freedom, as you are the vital missing piece in their party. To gain your freedom as well as theirs, you need to compete in the rites, sacred rituals to prove your worth, essentially a 3-on-3 basketball match. Now I know what you're thinking. Why are you the crucial missing piece in their plans to escape the downside? Well, without your ability to read, your companions would not be able to compete in the rites. Few people can read, so you are looked up to for your wisdom and your decision making. You control their destiny and the destiny of many others outcast to the downside. The main gameplay of Pyre is competing in the rites. As I mentioned, they are essentially 3-on-3 basketball matches. Your goal is to get the orb into your opponent's Pyre and extinguish their flames. Each Pyre starts off with 100 HP and is depleted each time it is scored upon. In order to prevent scoring, you can intercept passes, or you can use aura. Those are the colorful circles that appear around the participants of the rite. If a player encounters an opposing team's aura, that player is banished for a small period of time. While the player possesses the orb, their aura disappears, leaving them vulnerable. These auras will surround your player while you move, so you can simply try to run up to an opposing character to banish them, or your aura can be cast out and used to banish players from a distance. Once a Pyre is fully extinguished, the rite is concluded and the winning team is one step closer to freedom. You are only able to control your team members one at a time. You can pass the orb whenever you are in possession of it, or switch between characters when you're not in possession. Each character handles differently and brings different strengths and weaknesses to the table. For instance, the faster characters will have an easier time scoring, but their auras will be weaker and will extinguish less HP from the Pyre. Likewise, the heavier characters will have a greater aura and defensive abilities, as well as do more damage to the Pyre, but they are tanky and harder to maneuver. There's a wide cast of characters that you can mix and match to meet your playstyle. As you compete in the rites, your party members gain experience and unlock perks to assist that individual character, or in some cases, even your team. Before the rites, you are also able to equip talismans that will add extra skills or even passive bonuses to your characters. As you progress through the downside, you will occasionally have time to practice your vocations. This will give you the opportunity to either give an individual party member personal training and a big EXP boost, look for something rare in the area, including talismans, or permanently increase the stats of all your party members. I personally stuck with the personal training. I found the stat boosts to be negligible at best, and after a couple of hours into the game, I already had 3 or 4 talismans that I really liked and stuck with for the remainder of my journey. Your opponents in the rites all have their own stories and are connected to your different party members. I always made sure to keep an eye out for an opportunity to talk to each of my party members to understand their connections to those who we just faced. Some are as simple as one of my party members and one of my opponents having a crush on one another, and others can be much deeper, like treachery or betrayal. Eventually the world will open up to you and you're free to explore it and challenge whomever you want to a rite. This is when you will truly get an understanding for the exiles living in the downside. This is also where the game lends itself to multiple playthroughs. Your party at the time of those encounters will dictate certain dialogues. For instance, if you face the team that has a character with a crush on one of your party members and that party member is present, that storyline will continue and you will understand more of those characters and their significant others from before they were exiled. If that party member is no longer with you on your travels, the opponent will speak to missing that character or wonder where they went. Even though the world opens up and you have the freedom to explore the downside, there isn't really much to find aside from a few page unlocks from the Book of Rites. I found myself after the first 30 minutes or so not really bothering to look anymore and just going as fast as I could from point A to point B. I feel like the game could have done more to give me a reason to go out and explore this world. The previously mentioned Book of Rites contains a bunch of lore and background of the downside and how things came to be. The pages will unlock over time or by making certain decisions in the campaign. The main lore is found within the Book of Rites, while the rest of the story is told in a flipbook style with small amounts of voice acting in a fictitious language. There is only one character fully voice acted, and it's the announcer during the rites. The voice acting that is there is incredible. Just listen.
Reader, dare you tamper with forbidden knowledge? So soon after your sentence into exile. 'Tis true what the book says. You can be free again. Perhaps not you yourself, but someone worthy of the privilege. You witness now the path toward salvation. You witness the rights, the one way to return to glory. Though in your case, I hardly think it possible. Yet, by the grace of the scribes, it is my duty to inform you anyhow.
I.A.H. Lorigata. Oh man.
While the voice acting is great, it's also my biggest complaint about the game. There just simply isn't enough of it. The story drags on when you must read every bit of dialogue that is already voice acted in another language. Why couldn't it be in English? It would really improve the pacing of the story in my opinion. On top of having to read the dialogue in the flipbook fashion, there's a lot of reading to be done in the Book of Rights. I am personally one of those players who really likes to go out of my way and do all of the small side quests, so having to read all the dialogue and then go into the Book of Rights and continue to read more about the lore really dragged on for me. It becomes cumbersome, and halfway through the game, I stopped caring about the pages I unlocked because I didn't feel it was worth my time. I'm the first to admit that I'm a slower reader, so the story really started to drag on for me after a while. I would have been much more inclined to read the Book of Rights had the full voice acting been there for the dialogue and main story. The last and easiest thing to mention are the visuals and soundtrack. It's a Supergiant game, so if you're familiar with their work, you know exactly what you're going to get. The art style is superb and everything is gorgeous. I often found myself taking the orb and just running away from my opponents so that I could have some time to take in the arena and enjoy the soundtrack. All of the tracks are memorable and fit very well with the tones that are trying to be conveyed by the characters in that particular scene. There are a few songs that have vocals that are a bit too cheesy for my liking, but they were still wonderfully composed. Oddly enough, considering how well known Supergiant is for their soundtracks, my only glitch occurred when two songs started playing at the same time. This was a minor issue and was easily resolved by going to the pause menu and reloading my last checkpoint. Fortunately, checkpoints are very generous in this game and occur every couple minutes or so when you're not participating in a right. Overall, I really enjoyed my time with Pyre, and I'm looking forward to going back and playing it a few more times to see what impact my different decisions will have. The lack of voice acting caused the game to drag on a bit for me, but the ending was really strong and made up for some of the more boring moments I faced in the middle. And with that in mind, Pyre gets an 8 out of 10. If you had any interest in the game before you saw this video, or if this video piqued your interest at all, you should definitely go out and check it out. You will not be disappointed. Thank you all for watching, and if you would like to hear me ramble on a little more in depth about Pyre and talk my personal experience as well as some spoilers, you can check out this video here on the right. We also have a podcast that we do weekly. You can check out our most recent episode here on the left. And if you enjoyed the review and want to see more reviews and gameplays in the future, hit that subscribe button right there in the middle. That's it for me, guys. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.